Welcome to Visual Book Summary, your channel for exploring the greatest works of literature. Today, we embark on a deep exploration of Dante Alighieri's Inferno, focusing on the profound first canto. This opening to the Divine Comedy is not merely the start of a journey through hell, but a rich allegory that establishes the core themes of the entire work. In this episode, we'll unravel the symbolism, themes, and historical context of this masterpiece, discovering why Dante's journey continues to resonate with readers across the centuries. A Journey into Darkness, the Forest and Its Meaning. The first canto begins with one of the most iconic and universally recognized lines in literature. Midway upon the journey of our life, I found myself within a forest dark, for the straightforward path had been lost. Dante, at the age of 35, reflects on what he considers the midpoint of life, adhering to the medieval understanding that human life spanned approximately 70 years. This midpoint is not merely a chronological marker, but an existential turning point, a moment of crisis and self-reckoning. The dark forest into which Dante wanders is a metaphor for sin, ignorance, and the loss of moral direction. Its wild and untamed nature mirrors the inner chaos of a soul that has strayed from the righteous path. Yet the forest is not merely symbolic. It also has a literal resonance for Dante's contemporaries, who would have feared the very real dangers of getting lost in dense and perilous woodlands. Dante's depiction of the forest emphasizes its terrifying qualities. It is wild, harsh, and dense, and the very thought of it rekindles his fear. Yet even in this place of despair, there is a glimmer of hope. This duality of fear and hope is central to the Divine Comedy, reflecting the belief that redemption is possible, even in the darkest of times. The hill and the sun, symbols of salvation. Emerging from the shadowy depths of the forest, Dante encounters a hill bathed in sunlight. This moment is imbued with hope, as the light of the sun represents divine guidance and the possibility of returning to the righteous way. The hill itself is a symbol of earthly happiness, attainable through the practice of the cardinal virtues: fortitude, temperance, prudence, and justice. In this context, the sun atop the hill is not just a celestial body, but a representation of divine illumination. It is the light that dispels the darkness of ignorance and sin, offering Dante a path forward. However, his attempt to climb the hill is thwarted, symbolizing the idea that human effort alone is insufficient to overcome sin. The Three Beasts. Manifestations of Vice. Dante's ascent is interrupted by the appearance of three beasts, each representing a major category of sin. The leopard, swift and elusive, the leopard symbolizes lust and fraudulent desires. Its spotted coat may also allude to the deceptive nature of these sins, which often appear enticing, but led to ruin. The lion. Majestic yet terrifying, the lion embodies pride and violence, sins that dominate through sheer force and arrogance. Dante's encounter with the lion underscores the human tendency to overreach, driven by a sense of self-importance. The she-wolf. The most fearsome of the three, the she-wolf represents avarice and greed, which Dante considered the root cause of much of the corruption in his time. Unlike the other beasts, the she-wolf is described as insatiable, her hunger growing with each victim she consumes. The presence of these beasts highlights the obstacles that prevent humanity from achieving salvation. They block Dante's path, forcing him to retreat into the forest of sin, a poignant reminder that vice often seems insurmountable without divine intervention. Virgil, the guide of human reason. As Dante retreats in despair, he encounters a figure who will become his guide through the afterlife. Virgil, the great Roman poet and author of the Aeneid. Virgil's appearance is sudden and spectral, prompting Dante to ask whether he is a man or a spirit. Virgil's introduction is carefully crafted, avoiding direct mention of his name, but referencing his literary fame and his role as the poet of Aeneas, the legendary founder of Rome. This subtle humility is contrasted with Dante's reverence for Virgil, whom he addresses as his master and the source of his own elevated poetic style. In the Inferno, Virgil serves a dual purpose. As a historical figure, he connects Dante's Christian narrative to the classical traditions of antiquity. Allegorically, Virgil represents human reason, which can guide individuals toward virtue, but cannot provide ultimate salvation. This distinction is crucial, as it underscores the limitations of reason in the face of divine mysteries. The prophecy of the hound. During their conversation, Virgil introduces one of the most enigmatic elements of the canto, the prophecy of the hound. This figure is described as a redeemer who will drive the she-wolf back to hell, bringing justice and moral renewal to a corrupted world. The identity of the hound has been the subject of much scholarly debate. Some interpret it as a historical figure, such as a pope or emperor, while others see it as a symbolic force for moral and political reform. Dante's deliberate ambiguity allows the prophecy to transcend its historical context, making it a timeless expression of hope for redemption. The hound's arrival is described with vivid imagery, emphasizing its purity and divine mission. This contrasts sharply with the insatiable greed of the she-wolf, reinforcing the idea that true renewal requires both moral integrity and divine intervention. The journey through the afterlife. Virgil outlines the journey that lies ahead for Dante: a descent through hell, a climb up Mount Purgatory, and an ascent into paradise. This structure mirrors the soul's path to redemption, moving from recognition of sin to purification, and ultimately to union with the divine. Virgil promises to guide Dante through the first two realms, but acknowledges his limitations. As a pagan, he is excluded from divine grace and cannot enter heaven. This task will fall to Beatrice, Dante's beloved, who symbolizes divine grace and theology. Beatrice's role highlights the idea that human reason, while essential, must be complemented by faith and divine revelation. The first canto of Inferno sets the stage for Dante's grand allegory of human redemption. Through its rich symbolism, timeless themes, and masterful poetry, it invites readers to reflect on their own journeys toward moral and spiritual growth. Dante's descent into the dark forest is not just his story. It is the story of every soul striving to overcome sin and find the light of salvation. Join us in our next episode as we continue Dante's journey into the depths of hell. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share Visual Book Summary, where we make literature come alive. See you next time.